I forgot to show you what it looked like before I started carving on the wooden grate. The wooden grates were supposed to replace these tin ones, and with this framework it supposedly matched the old tin ones. Because the hole in the floor is right up against the baseboard, I need to trim this down. I want to leave enough wood here to make it strong, but I need to get it so that the hole actually comes out underneath the grate so it actually vents. I like this little 10 tooth per inch saw. This is a Keystone, which is a second line for Diston. But it's a nice straight little saw. Got a good blade on it. I sharpened it, of course, set the teeth. Does a nice job of cutting. Even though this is ripping and I'm using a crosscut saw, it works quite well. And I've heard some bad comments about Irwin quick grips, how they don't hold up. You got to remember, this is a device for holding something. It's not a device for bending things. It's not a punch press. It's not a really heavy-duty clamping device. If your joints are so bad that you have to pull them together with a clamp, work on the joint. Don't blame the clamp. For those of you who are interested, this was a test of how well a Craig joint worked. And I just put 2 screws in there randomly because I wanted to try it. And put it into this piece of plywood. And I've used it now for about a year for things like this. You want a little extension to get it away from the bench so that you can saw something and clamp it to the edge without having to work on this thick edge, and you don't want to use the vise on the woodworking bench. This works great. I do all kinds of things on it, and it's just held on with 2 screws. This little number 3 is a made in USA plane. has a Defiance blade in it. I don't know that this is necessarily a Defiance plane. Quite often I find that on the planes that I buy, somebody has replaced the blade at least once. But for being an inexpensive little plane, it does a fine job of holding the blade at the correct angle. With a good sharp blade in it. Always dust off the plane going this direction. Don't come this way, you'll plane your fingers. There. Now that'll set up tighter against the wall. I have to drill some holes. That's long enough to go down through and engage the flooring. You just have to trim off the burrs where it cuts crossed. Doesn't happen where it cuts with the grain, mostly where it cuts crossed. Only takes a second. With my handy dandy universal tool, the jackknife. Okay. 2 brass screws. I need a fine drill bit because I want to put a pilot hole in for these brass screws so they'll break. 1/8 inch will do just fine. Put away my tools. Always want to leave the marking gauges with this screw unlocked or it will crack across here when the humidity changes. I should have cut this off before I put the baseboard on.
The bathroom, the never-ending project.
I never use a power driver to run down brass screws. It's way too easy to snap them. With a screwdriver, I can feel them starting to get a little resistance and stop before it snaps them off.
Okay.
If you're running into a difficult situation where it doesn't want to go easily, then a little soap on the threads helps a lot. I never use a power driver to install brass screws. It's way too easy to snap them. With a screwdriver, I can just kind of feel if they're getting a little resistance. It also helps if you're in a difficult situation to put some soap on the threads. Makes it so that they drive a whole lot easier. Once you break one off, then it's a never-ending pain in the butt. You've got to dig it out. That makes the hole big. Then you got to fill the hole in. It's just not a thing you want to do. Oh, this last little plug, I finally got the grate done for the register. Very happy to have another part of this project finished. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Done.